Welcome to Mama's Space, a podcast wherein moms can relax, reflect, and connect with others through their stories and experiences. Being a mom is a challenging, beautiful adventure that shouldn't be navigated alone. Join me as I connect with fellow moms about their journey into motherhood. We'll get down to the nitty-gritty and chat about the joy, the tears, the mess, and all the love that comes with being a parent. Hello everybody, I'm your host Brittany Miller and you've tuned in to Mama's Space. As you can hear, my voice is not all there. I'm on day 6 of this flu virus thing. I don't know what it is, but my toddler was sick and then I've been sick and now my husband is sick and it's been a rough week in our house. Lots of tissues, lots of meds, lots of feelings. But I think I'm on the mend, so I didn't want to delay this conversation, so we're just going to roll with it, but please bear with me and my voice today. In this week, I get together with my friend Laura. We met through our mommy meetups in the early postpartum days. And yeah, I'm really keen to sit down with her and get to know her a little better. We haven't chatted properly in quite a while, so I'm really excited about this conversation and I hope that you enjoy it and that something stands out to you. I'm really keen to chat with you. I was doing like my little intro thing now and was like, we haven't actually properly chatted. Like properly, I think, ever. It's, we hung out a lot in the early days, but it's very different when you're trying to navigate your little baby in a restaurant having coffee and it's loud. So,
oh no, there's no time for real chats then, hey?
No, I have to really carve those moments out. They're few and far between.
And I think it's getting even more hectic now. It was probably easier when the babies were little and like you'd pray that they would sleep at those coffee shop things so that you could actually enjoy yourself. Or there would be times where they would like just absolutely kick off. And then you were stuck there going, oh, I just want to be at home right now.
I know, it's like I've made this effort to get out, but this is so hard.
I know.
But I mean, I'm so grateful for those meetups, and I know like I was resistant to getting out in the beginning, but I kind of like just forced myself, and I'm so like glad for it because look at this group of us. So we call ourselves the Mimosa Moms, and we have a WhatsApp group. And we'll occasionally try to arrange get-togethers, but it's also a place where we can like message if we need help and stuff. And I mean,
Yes.
If we hadn't gone to those groups, we wouldn't have each other. So it's been great.
I find it so funny that we're called the Mimosa Moms, but I don't think we've ever had a chance to have mimosas. It's more like we try, and then it's just more just like kid get-togethers and all that jazz. But that's good. It's good that I think it's so important to have a community. I mean, my sister is about to have a baby, and I said to him, like, join a mom's group. You're going to need that sanity, like just someone taking care of your sanity, because if you don't get out, then you'll like can never get out.
Yeah.
So I think it's so important.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's hard, but it's unique, but it's worth pushing into for sure.
Absolutely. And I think it makes sense. Like I sometimes miss those days and I'm like, oh, I wish we could, recreate it now. But I think it's a lot different when the babies are a lot more independent and mobile. Then there's no real chance.
Yeah. And we also on one nap, but our nap schedules are very different.
Yes, exactly. Everyone's on a schedule and trying to meet up. But it's like, I think if the nice thing about moms, especially the moms in our group, it's like we all are very understanding of each other and it's never any admin or any like issue if, you can't make it off this and that. It's like everyone's just understanding that we're all in the trenches together.
Yeah.
And that's what's great.
Yeah, it's great. Cool. So tell me a little bit about your story, who you are and your family.
Oh, with pleasure. Okay, so I'm Laura. I am mother to Josh. And yeah, Josh is our first little baby in the family. It took a while for him to join our family. We had quite a bit of trouble falling pregnant. It took a lot longer than we had expected it to. I thought, as soon as you start trying, then all of a sudden, you're going to have a baby within a month or two. But that is not the case. It took us a good 2 years of trying to have a baby to eventually fall pregnant. Eventually had 2 miscarriages on the way, which obviously is not ideal and is
traumatic.
Yeah. So painful for anyone who's going through that. But I don't want to say to take away from the experience, but on the upside of the experience, it reassured me every time on the 2 times that I had a miscarriage, how badly I wanted to start a family. So it made the joy of falling pregnant and having a successful pregnancy even more rewarding. Like, it was the most amazing experience to have that. But it also, and for I guess anyone who has miscarriages probably can resonate with this, is that it kind of tarnishes your experience of your pregnancy journey, because I speak for myself and for friends who've had miscarriages. Like, every scan you go to, like, is everything going to be okay?
Yeah,
like,
it's that level of anxiety.
It adds just like a little level of anxiety, which, maybe without a miscarriage or not experiencing any pregnancy loss, like, you wouldn't have had that. But suffice to say, like, I don't think about that anymore, because I have Josh in my life, and I'm so happy that he's in my life. He was born in January last year. Where are we now? 2024. He's a year and a half now. Busy little fella, but he's very busy. It's funny seeing little bits of myself in him, and little bits of Harry, my husband, and now his like personality is really starting to shine through.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's quite a journey to get to where you are today.
Yeah, it has been quite a journey, but it's like I said, I don't look back on that now. It's only when I talk about it, I'm like, oh, okay, that was actually quite hectic. Like, in the time, it was miserable and horrific. And it's funny, I'm actually looking at an ultrasound picture whilst we're talking about this. So it's funny that we're actually talking about pregnancy. But yeah, it was a journey. I'm just very happy it ended positively. I was on the cusp of being, if it doesn't happen this month, then are we going to look at the IVF route? Are we going to, take the next step? And as fate would have it, that last month
was the month.
So I'm very blessed in that sense, that it came through.
Yeah. So you said, like, you feel like you've processed whatever you needed to process about that season?
I think so. I think, there's obviously discussions now about having a second baby, and
does it bring up any feelings?
It does. Yeah. It does. I mean, I'm apprehensive because of the highs and the lows that come with all of that. And then the idea of like the timing and the waiting, and like, are we going to fall pregnant on the first time around, or is it going to be on the 20th time around? Or, it's having to process that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot to think of.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't experienced that for us, but also thinking of baby number 2. And I mean, every pregnancy is so unique, you just don't know what to expect. And I mean, even just without having any loss, it's still, there's a lot of feelings, and it's emotional and stressful regardless. So I can't imagine the extra element that you guys had to navigate.
Yeah, I think it was also just about a bit of reframing. I think the perception is out there is that, and this is now going back to like high school, you go on the pill or whatever, and then it's because you can fall pregnant so quickly. It's so quickly. If you have sex without a condom once, you are going to fall pregnant. And that is not necessarily the case. I mean, it's not I'm not promoting, unprotected, unsafe sex now, but it's like, it's not necessarily the case. And it's not necessarily the case that just because you hear friends that are falling pregnant easy, that is the norm. It's
going to be the same for you. Yeah. You're right. That's not the norm.
Yeah. So I guess now, going with the learnings that I had from the first pregnancy, I won't be upset that it didn't happen in the first month or the third month or the 6th month. I'll just know that this is actually somewhat normal, and you're not broken. Because a lot of the the time you can feel like, what's wrong with me? And you take a lot of blame on yourself. Like, what's wrong with my body that I can't do this?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. And like, yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot, and no one talks about it. It's a very hush hush topic that now, even when I have friends who are talking about having babies or are, I don't want to say should be having babies, you would expect to be having babies. I don't even ask anymore if they're planning on having children, because you don't know
Yeah.
what's going on
Yeah. Yeah,
behind the
you
scenes.
don't want to like touch a nerve and they've actually been trying for so long and it hasn't happened,
Precisely, yeah.
or they actually don't want kids, but then they feel all this pressure and people keep asking them, but it's just not for them.
Precisely.
It can be such a hush hush thing, and I think it's obviously reality, but I also feel like it's quite sad in that, for individuals who are walking on their different journeys, you feel like you can't really open up with your friends or whatever because you just don't know what they're going through and you don't want to offend them.
Yeah. But in
And
the
it's like,
same
well, then
space,
what do you do?
yeah, in the same space, you want it to be something that like you can publicly speak of, because you want to be able to empathize with your friends or like
Totally.
share your experiences. Because I know the more I opened up about my experience, the better it made me feel.
Mm,
Just being able to like emotionally offload a bit, because if you don't have anyone to talk to, like I couldn't really even talk to my mom about it because my mom never experienced it. So
right.
she
Yeah.
didn't really know how it felt. But
Mm,
speaking to someone else who's had a miscarriage, like they know how it feels. And then you can like seek comfort within each other based on your traumatic experience.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yes, I think people need to talk about these things more.
Yeah.
It seems like the takeaway from
But,
here.
that's exactly what Mom's Group was. Is like it was everyone could be in the trenches together, or have experienced terrible birth stories or whatever that no one talks about publicly. But that was the forum, and I think that's why it was so healing. I don't want to say healing, but like it was healing for some, because you can be like, oh, it's not only me that's dealing with this.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, even so, a few weeks ago, some of us moms got together without the kids for a change. So dads or grannies were on duty for an hour or two, and yeah, I just remember it was feeling so good of just sitting around the table and we were having breakfast and kind of we were chatting a bit about our birth stories and just being open about where we were at and sharing that perspective with each other. I think was so helpful, and just in that short space of time, kind of felt like I got to know a bunch of you guys much better than before when we were getting together weekly and having coffees and stuff. But it's a different level of conversation.
Absolutely.
Mm. Sure. So the journey to get here, and the motherhood.
Yes. Yeah, that was the journey. Um,
And now being a mom, what do you enjoy about it?
being a mom, what I enjoy about it on a personal level is like the resilience it's given me. I
Interesting.
feared motherhood. Like long before I had Josh in our lives, I was like, analysis paralysis, overthinking everything. Like, what am I going to be like as a mom? How is he going to be? What if this? What if that? What if that? And it's just taught me to, like, you're tougher than you think. Um, yeah, you're a lot tougher than you think. And that it's given me a sense of confidence in my own ability that I didn't think that I was going to have, being a mom. I thought
Mm,
I thought it was, I don't want to say it would be a lot harder. I mean, it's hard, but the fact that we've come out on the other side of the hard times is what I look back on with gratitude, be like,
mm,
okay, no one pulled me out of this situation but me. So it's like that perspective, on being a mom has been something that it's made me grow up within a year, which is amazing.
sure. Yeah.
But other than that, like that's from a personal side, but being a mom, it's like, it's also opened the doors to experiences that I would have never had without having a child in my life. Like I get to relive certain bits of my own childhood through Josh's eyes, and seeing,
Interesting.
yeah, and seeing like him enjoy things for the first time and novel experiences and laughing about silly things. It just brings so much more joy and laughter into our lives. That's, you
Yeah.
can't really like explain to someone who doesn't have children. And it sounds
Mm.
very cliche, but it is true. It's like they bring a
No, it's
level.
true. Totally true.
Yeah, that's just like you end up being silly, you do silly things like, and even in the tough times, like I was telling my sister about the tough times and the sleepless nights. Like there was a moment where myself and Harry were laughing in the middle of the night because we had no idea what we were doing. And that just at the end of the day, we just had to laugh about it. So yeah, so it's brought a lot of learnings, it's a lot of joy, and also just yeah, having our family grow. And it sounds funny as well, but like seeing the joy it brings to my parents and Harry's parents as well, seeing a little
Yeah.
grandchild in their life, it's like brought a whole new lease on life there. So
Mm. Is he also the first grandchild on both sides?
first grandchild on my side, not on
Okay.
Harry's
Same
side.
as me. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's so special. Yeah, I mean, these years are so intense, but I mean, you make such a good point. Is just seeing them experience all these new things, and yeah, it's so special. I think it, but it also makes you a bit sad in the sense that like they don't remember all of this. Like these are such critical years of their development,
I know.
but they won't remember it. And so like I almost feel like I need to do more of the documenting that I would normally do because I'm like, I want you to see this when you grow up and
Yes.
playing with Play-Doh for the first time and the textures of things and
Yes, exactly. But I think, as I think I've probably read it on an Instagram, but that's where I've quote things now, is that it's not their memories, it's for our memories. And I think that's
yeah,
also,
I've also seen that.
yeah, it resonates with me so much. I'm like, just don't worry about them, that you're carving who they are and whatever, but it's more for our memories. Like we will look back on these times and like wonderment.
Yeah, definitely. And so you mentioned you and Harry laughing in the middle of the night. How how have you found becoming parents has impacted your relationship?
Gosh. Um, yeah, we are like passing ships in the night now.
Yeah.
It has impacted our relationship positively and negatively. Like it's definitely brought us closer together in the fact that we are now responsible for something that we do on our own terms. It's not influenced by, what is influenced by anyone else, but that just, the buck stops with us. Like we are responsible for what we want, how we want to raise him and what we want to feed him and how we're going to discipline and all those sorts of things. So it's brought us closer together there, that we've had to make these, like have these big conversations. But I mean, you can imagine the topics also can be the same topics that will cause more conflict, because
Yeah.
one person has one way of doing things, one person has another way of doing things, and trying to meet the middle ground is sometimes not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean like you would have grown up in a certain way and parents did things and whatever and then his family did in a different way.
Yep.
And then also you kind of come into being parents, I think, with your own idea of what you want.
Yes.
And then it's like trying to match up with what theirs is. And also like
Yeah.
what works with your kid, because you might think you wanted to have done something in this way, but actually it just doesn't work with your kid. So
Yep.
it's a lot of like trying to navigate and mold what works for you and your family and
Yeah, and
making sure that everyone is happy.
it's also just putting those things into practice.
Mm.
Like we have all these theories of how we want to be as parents and how we want to do
Yeah.
things, but then sometimes putting into practice, you just like go into default mode and you're like, oh god,
Mm.
did I just threaten you with dessert now? Like I didn't want to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the actual practicing what we preach and what we want to do,
I know.
it's the action is so much harder than the thought behind
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I like it's chipping away at the big ice, at the what's it, the bigger iceberg. It's not going to change
Yeah.
overnight. It's just making small steps towards what you're working to, like what you're collectively working on,
Mhm.
or working towards. Then
Yeah.
I think it's like it's all steps in the right direction.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. And it's kind of like the teething process for the parents too, and
Yeah,
navigating things. And
yeah,
yeah, it is hard, but I guess you just, as you say, chipping away and hoping to come out on the other side
yeah.
happy and sunshine.
And I think it's also something that, I mean, I need to do more of it. And Harry probably also is, we need to both consider carving out more time just for the two of us. Because a lot of like our weekends are
Right, yeah.
with family, or obviously doing things with Josh, and just there's never really time for just the two of us.
Mm.
And when we are just the two of us, we're looking at pictures of Josh. I mean, that's pathetic.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We're like, oh, have you seen this cute one? Have you seen that cute one?
Yeah.
It's just,
Oh, so cute.
I know. But
So when last did you go on a date? If
we
you had to
last
think.
went on a date on my birthday, which was the 1st of June. So now it's the
Okay.
1st of August.
That's
So
2 months.
I know,
Yeah.
right? It's a while.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like all the ideal of having, I mean, it's something I strive toward, just trying to make sure we have regular dates and stuff. But I mean, that is hard. But do you find that you're able to just carve in little moments where at least kind of touching base and connecting on the regular?
So for me, like we go for morning, or we try, the winter hasn't been helpful, but we try to go for a morning walk. And that's when, like, Josh is quite happy just to be in his little trike and look around, and we can actually have a conversation.
Yeah.
And so those for me are our little moments, like, every
Mm.
second day that we can just like catch up.
Yeah.
Because at the dinner table, there's no chatting.
Oh no, food is flying. Trying to
Yeah,
keep them in their
exactly.
seat.
Exactly. So yeah, that. And I
Mm.
guess, sometimes in the mornings, just before we wake up, before we get in, we're like, okay, did you sleep okay?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
You're alive. You're alive. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I'm glad you're able to have those little moments.
Yeah. And I think it's just about, again, reframing those little moments and embracing them for what they are, and like being grateful for them, that you get to have those little moments.
Mm. Yeah. And looking back, because you're a year and a half in,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think surprised you the most about becoming a parent?
Oh, that's a good one. What surprised me the most is putting all, like, I think I've touched on this already, but like all the theories because we've got two nieces, and we always would be like, oh, when we become parents, and when we become parents. And I think a lot of those have fallen by the wayside. I think, yeah, just not being like, for seeing how real it is. Like, parenting is real. It's not theoretical. It's not like, oh, how we would do this. It is raw, and it is real, and it's unfiltered. And yeah, I think I'm trying to now put this into better words, but like Josh, and I think all children, to their mothers and their fathers, know how to test boundaries, and especially now, knowing how to test boundaries. And like, so I, yeah, like I'm trying to navigate that, but I'm definitely, the question was, sorry, I'm going back to the question, what surprised me?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that I thought I'd have a better handle on that, on being tested, like being able to like hold my cool and not get so triggered and or overstimulated. But I'm like massively overstimulated with regards to crying, whining, noises like that.
Totally. I feel you.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
And I thought I'd have a better handle on it, because I'm not normally like a what's it, a brash person who'll lose their temper completely. But that kind of stuff, it just like gets into my head, and I'll can like lose it. And that's surprising me on the negative side of things. And what's also surprised me, just going back to the early days, is how hard breastfeeding was. Oh my word. Like, I did not expect it to be that hard.
Yeah. Yeah, because you struggled quite a bit, and then you moved over to bottles eventually.
Yeah, I only lasted for about 5 months. I was just, it was the ups and downs of he's gaining weight, he's gaining too much weight, he's gaining too little weight, and like just not knowing how much he was being fed, and then it was just how much is coming out. It was just an absolute nightmare for me. I struggled a lot, and also just not being able to leave the house after a 3-hour window, because I also couldn't really pump very well. So
you're not like you could leave him with some milk and then do something.
So for me, going onto formula was helpful. But and again, another thing that surprised me is no one tells you the like emotional come down stopping breastfeeding is.
Right, yeah.
No one told me about that. I was like,
yeah.
why?
Because you just kind of went cut and dry straight away. Hey?
Um, kind of. I tried to like wean it down as to not like, have my boobs explode, but it was my body was naturally weaning down. I think because we were like supplementing.
So supply was going down.
Yeah, we were supplementing some like top ups with formula and things like that. So I think my supply was naturally going down. And then by the time that it stopped, or the time, like I didn't really have any engorgement or any issues with that.
Well, that's positive.
Yeah. But the emotional come down I was not prepared for. It was very horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I've still been breastfeeding now and trying to get it off it, but
How's that going?
it's a slow journey. But I mean, we're getting there. We're down to morning and night and not in the day. So
Okay.
progress. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine
Did you have any
I think,
emotional things even when you like slowing down breastfeeding?
yeah, I mean, that's actually what I'm trying to work out at the moment because like I don't know what's happening with my cycle. I don't know anything. It's like and I'm like, I wonder how much the breastfeeding and the weaning has actually affected that. But
Mm.
like, where do you go to find that information? That wasn't covered in the antenatal classes. the
No.
It's how to breastfeed and how to get the perfect latch, but then
What about at
when
the
it comes
end?
time to stopping that journey, what does that look like? I don't know. So I'm sure it has affected me. Um, I just haven't like maybe put two and two together
Yeah.
with the emotions. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So would you say that the being overstimulated and the feelings and trying to navigate like the moods and the tantrums, has that been the biggest challenge for you at the moment?
Yeah. That is like how does one you can't discipline a toddler, like they don't understand the ramifications of their actions. They're just being a
Mm,
toddler. So there's no like I'm trying to hold boundaries. I think that's also the case. And then it's like
yeah.
and then the tantrum ensues, and then I'm like, oh, but I can't handle the noise, so let me just give in
Mm,
to the thing. So it's a lot of
yeah.
navigation.
It's hard. I actually shared something the other day. I saw on Instagram of like, I'm sorry about how I was reacting when there was
Yes.
too many sounds going on.
Yeah.
I feel like that I can resonate with that because it's so hard when like you're trying to clean or cook or something and then they're on you grabbing on you because they want you and you pick them up and then they want something they can't have and then they start moaning and like the tumble dryer is going and
Mm,
there's so many sounds and
I know.
I think I wasn't prepared for that feeling of stimulation and then the rage that you then feel and then
I know. I
after that you then feel guilty because you're like this is just a baby, I can't get cross with you,
Yeah,
but it's hard.
exactly. I I also it's like bubbles just within you, and then all of a sudden you snap, and then it's like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, but meanwhile, in the back of
Mhm.
your head, you've had like overthinking plus noise plus like an ever flowing to do list plus da, 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 and then all of a sudden it just blurts out into like one big rage vomit.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah.
yeah, that guilt.
Oh
That
God.
I mean, I guess that's why we are thankful that they don't remember every little moment. So if we're human and you do like lash out or have a reaction to one of their feelings, at least they're not going to hold it against you.
I
We
know.
just have to not hold it against
I
ourselves.
know that's what I try to tell myself as well. But I'm trying to work on it because I don't think lashing out is good for anyone.
Mm,
So I'm trying to work on myself. I'm trying to work on it with Harry as well because Harry also has a bit of a short fuse. He also gets overstimulated if the dogs are barking too loudly or if he's crying. You can just snap.
mm,
Um,
totally.
and it's normal, but it's just about practicing not getting to that snap state.
Mm, yeah. So do you feel like that's the area or one of the things you want to work on changing or improving in the way how you navigate things?
Yeah, that is definitely, I'm constantly working on that.
Mm,
Constantly in my head trying to work on that. And also just trying to, yeah, just not overthink every little thing that I'm doing, thinking like every step that I do is going to change the outcome of this child, where it's
mm,
just go with it. Like,
mm. Yeah,
just,
what do you mean by every step?
it's like, um, for example, like feeding. Okay, cool. should I be spoon feeding him, or should he be eating with his hands? Like, surely he needs to learn how to eat with a spoon now, or like stupid things like that. You know what I mean? And I think also that comes from a lot of comparison. I think with mothers, and I'm sure you can agree, like comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
You can think like, I also with Josh, you know, he didn't walk until he was, I don't know, quite old, like at least maybe 13, 14 months. And my mother-in-law was just like, why is he not walking yet? Why is he not walking yet? Well, surely he should be walking now. Da, 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 da. And then you see other kids walking and you're like, oh my God, something's wrong with this child. And da, 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 he's going to be behind. And it's getting to not think like that has made the parenting experience a lot better for me.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, comparison and social media, I mean, I've mentioned that before, but like it's just it's hardcore, and you really have to be conscious about what you're following and what you're seeing and who you're hanging out with, because it can just, I feel like it can just diminish the experience and make it so much harder.
No, for sure, for sure. And I think not, especially when I was like in the first 6 months and I was just basically glued to my phone, like Googling things, and everyone says don't Google anything, but of course you do.
Of course.
And it's like, why is my baby not rolling over? Why is my baby not clapping their hands? And you just like, you go like, oh God. And I don't know why it's so scary, but I think it's because of, again, you see so much out there and there's so many things like stigmas of like, oh, he's got a developmental delay and you need to take action and this and this and this. And it like sends you into like a doom spiral of, you know, now my life's, and the end being my life is over because of this.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So I think, and like, it's hard because we care and we want the best for them.
Yes.
But there's so much external information out there, and
and external.
How do you switch it off and just be and just follow your gut? But then you're like,
I know,
follow my gut, yeah, but I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't never been a mom before. Like, what if I mess this up? And
exactly.
And then saying like, Haley's been sick and now there's this rash, and I'm like, I haven't been able to sleep because she's been sleeping a bit better, which is great. But then like I'm still awake, and then I'm Googling at like 2 a.m. and it's like you just get down a rabbit hole, and then you're like, do I need to take her to the hospital because it hasn't cleared yet? And what if I don't? And then she gets like meningitis and her brain,
yes,
you know, and like there's so much unknown. And Google can help, but it also can be unhelpful sometimes.
Yep. No, it's information overload. And that's why I always, my favorite term these days is analysis paralysis. Too much information, then you're just stuck in like a freeze state of going, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But I think the more I'm not fixated on that stuff, the better I'm feeling about it, because I'm like, he's his own kid. He's going to do his thing. He eventually walked, like he's still fine. And with talking now, I guess that's the next big milestone. I'm like, he'll talk. So I'm just trying to go on those with that mindset, but it's not, I think that's why I like second time moms, maybe, you know, you get that like sense of ease because you know you have the experience because you've had the first, and you'll be like, yeah, they'll walk, they'll talk, whatever, it will come because you have the experience. But we are, as first time moms, don't have that yet.
Yeah, totally. So you mentioned second time moms and you know how it feels a little bit easier because you have more of an idea of what was happening and that every kid is unique. And you're thinking of baby number 2. What do you think you'll do differently this time around?
Oh, probably nothing. Thinking of baby number 2, what will I do differently? I think I'll, like I said, take a lot of pressure off myself and not fixate on the milestones. I think that's something I definitely won't do.
Yeah.
And I think I'll try breastfeed for longer if it doesn't like drain me as much. I want to try give it another good go. Because I did enjoy it. And I think I also like cherish the moments a lot more, because I felt with my first, it was always getting to that like next step. Okay, at 3 months, they'll stop being more colicky. Okay, no, at 6 months, they'll stop being more fussy. Or at this, then they'll be easier because they can sit. It's like, I'll try and savor the moments a little bit more, because it sounds very cliche, but it does go super fast. If I look back, I can't even remember
it's a
the first 6
reality,
months. Like, it was all just a blur of overthinking, lack of sleep, everything. I'll try just like relish in it more, knowing that it won't come around again, because we're not going to have a third.
Yeah. Okay. So 2 will be the number for you.
2, and that's enough for me. Yeah. I'm even already scared to tip the balance. Like, I'm only just, I don't want to say only just enjoying it now, but like only now things feel like stable. Like, we've got a routine, and we, can shower, and like, that's great. Like, we have a chance to like each, Harry's with him now. I'll be with him later. Like, we all each have a chance. When it's 2, I imagine I might also just be like catastrophizing it, but it's like no one has a chance. Like, you're always on duty all the time.
Someone needs you. It's always going to be something.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that probably will be the case, but I guess our heart just grows bigger, and we just find the capacity from somewhere, because
I know.
What else do you do? There's no alternative.
I know. And we've been like, overall, we've been pretty lucky with Josh. And I'm just like, what if the next one's the hard one? You know what I mean?
You'll have better idea of what you're doing, so.
I know. But it's funny. My mom always tells me, like, my sister, who's older than me, was the easy one, and I was the difficult one. So I was like, oh no. But if I look, I need to look at it with a new light. It's a new challenge. It's new level of joy. And it's what we've always wanted. It's just about like pulling the trigger and to not overthink it and know that we can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it is a topic of like, how many more kids do we have, when you do have one, assuming that you can, and that you'd be blessed with that. But like,
how many do you want?
Yeah. So I'm on your fence of 2, and my husband is on the fence of 3.
Okay.
We both are one of 3, so I think it's interesting that I think 2 for myself. But
it's a pity you can't have 2.5. Eh? Just like cut it in the middle.
Yeah, it's meet in the middle, love, and here we go. No,
Split
I think
the difference.
I don't know. It's like I have family and they have 3 kids, and then other people have 2, and I don't know. I just feel like if it's 2, mom can be with 1, dad can be with 1, and you can fit in a car, and there's no one fighting over the middle seat, because that was the case with my sisters. It was always a battle of who was in the middle.
Really?
Yeah, we had like fights over it, and I was obviously the oldest, so I always got a side seat, but it was always a topic of who's going to be in the middle this time.
Yes. Oh, the middle is the bad seat. Sorry, the middle.
Yes, the middle's the bad seat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that
you
makes
much
more
room.
sense.
You got elbows touching.
Yes.
So, no. And then also accommodation. A lot of the places are 4 sleepers, and then you like need to get a bigger place because I have 5, and I don't know, but I just think you have to just meet your new kid, and then does it feel complete or not? Like that's what my sister-in-law said to me, that like she had her second and she just knew straight away this couldn't be her last. So I don't know, for us we'll just see what happens when we do have number 2, and how the family feels.
Yeah. You can't, it's not one of those decisions that you can make prior to experiencing it.
Yeah but I mean, it are some logistics to think of, but kind of mentally prepare your mind and your heart for it a bit. But yeah, you just have to see how it is when you're a family of 4, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, also like the biggest thing, not the biggest, but I don't know if it stresses you guys out, but it's the financial stresses that come with 2 children. Not like one child is enough. And when like you hear these headlines of like what school fees will be like when our children are going to school, you're like,
I know. Yeah.
I don't have that.
I know. It's like, where's that money going to come from?
Yeah. That's also obviously something that weighs on my brain a lot, is that,
Totally, yeah. Financial element, yeah. It's a big factor.
Element. Yeah, for sure. And I'm very blessed to have like the support that I have, and to be in the financial standing that I'm currently in. But it's still something that like stresses me out, because you never know what's around the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But I guess that's why we just need to try and enjoy what we have now, as
Mm-hmm.
cliche as that sounds, because I mean, you don't know how long it might take for number two. We don't know what happens
Exactly.
with finances and the
Exactly.
country and whatever, but we just need to enjoy what we have, as hard as it can be sometimes,
No, for sure. And I
and just
think,
savor the little moments, as you said.
yeah. And it's just no, like, I don't want to say there are people out in this world that do it with a lot less. And
Totally,
you
yeah.
don't always need everything, the niceties in life. Like, it's more about family, it's more about connection, it's all about
Mm,
those good things.
yeah.
And just know that it will be good and the outcome will be good.
Mm, totally.
Because I think sometimes we can, like, especially me, I can get so locked down by a fear of these sorts of things that I won't ever do it. Like,
Mm,
it will make me not do it.
yeah.
So, and if I carry on living like that, there'll never be a second child. So,
Mm,
about just overcoming that
yeah. Just close your eyes and
and do it.
take that jump.
And then, yeah, I'm going to swear, but my mom always says "fuck for it." Like,
Exactly.
it's like a
Yeah.
South African proverb.
Mm, yeah. I mean, I think it also helps to look back a bit, and I think you've walked quite a journey to get to where you are today, and
Yeah, I don't think
you
any of us like
just,
take stock of that. We always just
yeah.
looking forward. We always just saying like, okay, what's the next thing? We never look back and be like, oh, okay, we're here now.
I
Like,
mean, you've overcome so many things to get to where you are today with Josh and
yeah,
losses and all those things, and like, yeah, like it's okay, and I think it's important to take stock of that and like see how much you've overcome and how,
mm,
like you mentioned earlier, how much you've grown over this past year, and that you've
yeah.
got it in you. Yeah.
I mean, I think this is the first time I'm actually like, it's forcing me to think about that. Like, we don't
Mm,
sit down and be like, oh, let's journal about our life. Like, we don't.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I try, but then you just start,
Mm.
like, the to-do list goes, okay, the house, da da da, and you're like, oh, I need to check this. Oh, I haven't replied to this message, and you go there. Oh, I need to
Yes.
Google this thing, and then it doesn't actually happen.
No, it's all in great theory of like how we should do this and take gratitude for it. Like, but I think I've tried it once and then I forgot about it. So
Mm,
it's constant reminders to do this because it does make you feel better. It does make you feel a lot stronger than um yeah, a lot stronger than you are.
yeah. Yeah, the whole roller coaster ride, hey?
Totally.
Um, but so I'm aware of time. But to
No
close
worries.
things off,
Is it time already? Oh my goodness.
I mean, it doesn't have to be, but I'm just aware of work
Sure.
days and lunchtime and all those things. But yeah, I mean, it's been so cool to chat and get to know you a bit better, and I feel like I've learned so much about you, which is
Oh yeah.
good, and that's what these things are for. Um, but what would your advice be to expecting parents or parents who are navigating the trenches of those early days with a baby?
Oh, um, what would my advice be to not sound too much like a bumper sticker?
I mean, I think a lot of what you shared will be really helpful, but there's
Sure.
like a little summary or a little
Well,
something that you maybe haven't mentioned before that you think
I
is
think of
worth sharing.
the advice that I'm give to my sister because she's about to go
Yeah.
through this now. And I think to sum it up would be like don't take everything so seriously. Like
Mm,
you are resilient, the baby's resilient. Like just know that you will get through to the other side.
yeah.
And it's, just
Mm,
have a sense of humor about it all.
yeah, that's true. I feel like you need to be, because there can be some crazy things that happen in those early days, and
Yep.
but I just think of you and your husband laughing in the middle of the night because it just, whatever the situation was, you have to just roll with it in a
No,
sense.
precisely. There's only like you can either be upset about it or you can just have a laugh about it and know that tomorrow is going to be a better day. Like, cool, you didn't have a great sleep last night. Like, you're not going to have a great sleep tonight. So,
I was going to say there's probably quite a few more of those in your
yeah, it's
future.
like
Sorry to say.
you just gonna, you know that it's shit and it's
Mm,
going to be shit and like, just have a laugh about it. It's not, that's, I guess, another piece of advice. It's like, it doesn't last forever.
mm,
It might feel like it lasts forever, like those 3 months. For me, it was the first 6 months. So I was like,
yeah.
I cannot do this anymore because
Mm,
I'm so like in love with my sleep. But it does get better.
Yeah.
That's my bumper sticker.
Yeah. A great bumper sticker. Cool. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me.
It's a pleasure.
I think we need to organize another Mimosa Mums get together sometime
Yes.
soon.
Yeah, no, oh my gosh, if your podcast was run for 3 hours, I could hunt on and keep chatting for so long. Because it's such a fun topic.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things to talk about. Like,
oh yeah,
go on and on and on.
Exactly. No, but thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and thanks I haven't opened up the side of myself in a long time, so.
Well, thank you for opening up that side with me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Britt.
Cool. We'll chat soon. And that's that for my conversation with Laura. I hope I can get through this recording in one piece. Well, in just the few hours since doing this recording yesterday, I've had a trip to the ER with my husband and waiting for results and all the things, and it's been so stressful, and I'm operating on basically no sleep. But I'm really keen to get this episode out there, and yeah, this podcast has become a little sanctuary for me in a sense, and keen to share this episode, so I'm here. Might not make much sense, but we're doing this. But yeah, we touch on a few more provoking topics in this conversation, and yeah, the idea is obviously not to offend or upset anyone, but more just to show the realness of being a mom and the journey to becoming parents, particularly in the case of pregnancy loss. So I think if anything has struck a nerve with you when you're listening today, I hope that you can find someone that you can chat to. I hate that it has to be a taboo topic, and yeah, just one of those things that just isn't spoken about, whether it be pregnancy loss or the struggles with fertility, or even just struggling with being a mom. Yeah, I hope and just encourage you to find someone to chat to. And if you don't have anyone to chat to, come chat with me. I'm here. I'm here to listen. But yeah, I hope that you have a good week, and we'll chat soon. Bye.